Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I kind of wanted to review WWE 2K20 on the PS4/Xbox One because 2K Battlegrounds was not what we all wanted it to be, unfortunately. It's a fun game, but it's got a lot of microtransactions and stuff holding it back to what it could potentially be. And the create mode is, well, let's face it, it's crap. But anyway, so 2K20, art style and graphics. The graphics in this game are pretty bad compared to 2K19 or other sports games. However, it's not horrible, and for the most part, it gets the job done. Animations are what needs lots of work. Sometimes your arms and legs will fold into themselves, and it's hilarious at what could happen. Like your arm could get stuck in the ropes, and you're like all weird and hooky, and your torso's not moving, but your arms flapping all over the place. So it's pretty damn funny. And sometimes you can fold into yourself. I call that the pretzel effect. And I'll have a little clip showing of what happened to me in one of my matches. And try not to laugh. It's pretty funny. Some of the wrestlers look like plastic dolls and can look kind of creepy, but with the main big time wrestlers, they all look a little bit better. They look pretty decent for the most part. And your created wrestlers, to me, look decent for the most part. They don't look totally weird, unless you make them that way, of course. Sum up, the good, you can still tell who's who. Created characters look decent. The bad, most of the wrestlers look like plastic dolls. Animations are wacky at times. In this category, art and graphics, a score out of 2, it gets a 1. Next category, gameplay and controls. The gameplay has been simplified by tying extra moves to the R2 button. You can now counter with the triangle button instead of the bumper. I forget which bumper it was. It's been a long time since I played the older games, and this is mostly on PlayStation, so whatever correlating Xbox button, that'd probably be, was it RT, right trigger? Yeah, right trigger, so RT. Anyway, and the specials are performed with X and square buttons at the same time, which I kind of like. Makes it feel more like a special move. Overall, once you learn the controls, you feel like you have almost complete control over your wrestler. I kind of like the changes, to be honest. Feels more arcade-like and like more than the last couple games. Last couple games felt too like convoluted, like you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I do this move? How do I do this move? I mean, the basic grapple and punch is easy, but when you want to carry someone, drag someone, throw them through a table, ahead, I mean, full disclosure, I didn't play 15 through 19 very much because of that fact. But in this one, I feel like they simplified a little bit, but maybe because I spent more time with it. But based off what I've played, I like the way this is set up much better. Let's see. Some of the moves are hard to hit, like connect with, or they're too slow, so it leaves you open for attacks. So that kind of sucks. But once you figure out what moves work and what moves don't, the game's really fun and it feels like you have complete control. And it's more arcadey to me, for some reason. It just feels a lot faster. And if you set adjust the settings, you can make it like what, not as crazy as 2K Battlegrounds, but you can make it pretty arcadey and have a blast doing it. So to sum up, the good in this section would be the button layout and controls. Feels good. Feels more arcadey-like than it used to be, to me anyway. The game feels faster than last year's game. It doesn't feel sluggish. I always felt like a big tank turtle wrestling, running across the ring. You feel lighter on your feet. And basically you just don't feel like a sloth anymore. That's just me. And the bad, some moves are hard to make contact with, making them feel useless. And in the category of gameplay and controls, the score out of 2, I give it a 1.5. Story and purpose. The story mode has some of the worst writing I've ever seen. And you have this high school bully who tries to ruin your career any chance she gets. She makes Thanos look like a saint. Even though the story is so bad, it's still fun to play just to see how bad it gets. Overall, I ended up liking the story, surprisingly, but it tries way too hard to push feminism by making the male protagonist an absolute moron. Now, I don't have any problem with feminism or anything like that, but when you push it in a way like by making the man look stupid, like ridiculously stupid, then it's kind of like, come on, relax, we get it. Anyway, at first it's cringeworthy, but starts to get funny seeing how stupid the male protagonist can be. My biggest problem with the story mode is how you are forced to lose quite a lot of matches just to push the narrative of the story. The creation suite, however, on the other hand, too many words, has some of the best fantasy options this generation and just best creation options in general that I have seen. I want more of this, and for that reason alone, this game to me is the best wrestling game this generation. Now to sum up, the good, seeing the conclusion of Red and Trey and all the crazy moments that led up to it is hilarious. Create a superstar, arena, ring, belt, entrance, victory, and shows in universe mode. Create whatever you want. It's your universe. And the bad. The feminism feels forced in, horrible writing, forced to lose for the sake of plot, can't replay the story mode or chapter select after you beat it. If you can, please let me know in the comments. I can't for the life of me figure out how to make it let me play it again. I just want to do chapter select and watch the funny moments again because they're so bad. Like the whole chapter where you're trying to fight the Undertaker. Pure gold. Pure gold. In this category, because of the create mode, not because of the story mode, I give it a 2 out of 2. Sound and music. The sound effects are captured very well for ring thuds, attacks, slams, etc. The entrance music sounds great, and the crowd noise is captured well enough. The soundtrack I turned off almost instantly because they always pick like 8 songs that loop endlessly, and I can't stand that. Why can't they just have basic background music while you're in the menus that just plays where it's there, so it gives you some sort of like thing in the background without dead silence or some guy yelling and screaming or saying the same effing lyric over and over and over and over again. Anyway, Firefly from the old wrestling game, the Breaking Benjamin song. I can't stand that song anymore because of that old game. Anyway, we don't need stupid, crappy music from artists that nobody's heard of. I know I'm old. Probably gonna get heat for that. But most of those artists in there might be one that I know, but it's mostly new stuff. If you're a wrestling fan, just put some, like, I don't know, Disturbed. Who else was around back then? Saliva. You know, that generation. Anyway, to sum up, the good, sound effects, pretty much sums up all of what I said, and the bad. The soundtrack sucks every year, unless you put the themes on from the wrestlers. But then, since it plays shorter versions of it, it starts playing them over and over again, and that could get old fast. And you don't want to ruin the entrance themes because that's kind of the point of entrances. Anyway, in this category, I give it, out of 2, a 1.5. Bugs and performance. Now, I didn't play this game at launch, but I am well aware of how bad it was. After many updates, the game works well enough to play every mode with minimal issues. The game still crashes randomly, but nowhere near what it did at launch. I played it only on my PS4 Pro, so I can't say if it works well on Xbox One, Xbox One X, or the base PS4. The frame rate only dips with more than 4 wrestlers on the screen, but it's not super noticeable. Not to me, anyway. Based off how it was at launch, I can confirm it works much, much better than it did. It's still got problems, but now they don't feel so terrible. And it does crash every once in a while, not every time I play it. To sum up, the good, 2K fixed most of the bugs, and the game is playable, finally. The bad, 2K has moved on to the next game, so any bugs that are left over are there for good. Crashes at random, like I said. And in this category, because of the bugs that are left over, out of 2, I give it a 1 out of 2. Now, final thoughts. With 2K Battlegrounds not having the meat and potatoes for its create mode, this game more than makes up for it with all the stuff you can create. In fact, it has the best creation suite I've seen since the THQ days. If you're looking for a decent wrestling game for a cheap price, this is your best bet this gen. It definitely could use more polish, but there is plenty of fun to be had with 2K20 and its massive creation suite. I am very curious how 2K22 will end up, since it'll be the first one in the franchise history without Ukes helping out. Now, if you want to make it more arcadey, so you don't have to buy a 2K Battlegrounds, it won't be that crazy, obviously, but it can still be quick and fun and crazy. Go into the options. I'll leave a little video at the end, little clip showing my settings, and that makes it fun to me. Anyway, to sum up the score out of 10 total, because each category has a total of 2 points. I'll have visual cues, and if you have any questions on how I rate stuff, I will leave the explanation in the comments below. Or not the comments, the description. Anyway, so the score out of 10, if you add it all up, big number, 7 out of 10, which I think is a pretty fair score for this game. Thanks for watching, and stay frosty. And please like and subscribe. That would rock.